Hey there, friends. Welcome to your weekly energy update. Nice to tune in with you. So, we've got a little bit of a challenging week ahead. It's a necessarily challenging week. It's part of a balancing process, but I just want to be straightforward with you right from the get-go that this coming week is a week where you're going to really want to protect yourself, protect your time, move slowly, maybe do some introspective activities like journaling, taking walks, taking baths, whatever it is that helps you regulate is going to be very helpful for the week ahead. Some of you know that there is currently a sale going on. It's a thank you sale. You can get 33% off on readings, recorded readings, my Heartbreak Cure self-paced course, all that good stuff. You can find out more down below. If you're not already on the email list, definitely hop on and say hello. So let's jump right on in and let's look at our first card for the week ahead. So it's always worth paying attention when a major arcana card shows up in your reading, and particularly when it's your first card, it's sort of marking a keystone element of what's going on in your world right now. And I love the Temperance card. There's a lot of esoteric meaning behind this card. There's a lot of esoteric meaning behind all of the major arcana, but particularly Temperance has an alchemical element to it. And when it shows up in a reading, it often is an indication that there's a balancing out of opposites. So this can look like having a really positive period of time. It's going to follow with something that brings some of your shadow material to the surface. One way of thinking about this is we start to grow in our awareness and light. And when we increase the amount of light or energy that comes in, it means that it's going to come down and sort of swirl with the parts of ourselves that are unconscious or the shadow elements, which means we get really bright. We might have a positive week or a very enlightened feeling for some time, but then there's going to be some of that material coming to the surface, and it could feel like things are a little bit imbalanced again. So this is a bit of what's being spoken of right now, that something in your life is balancing out. Something in your life is being reconfigured. So if you've been going through a very light, bright period, you could come into contact with a little bit of a downward swing. Now, another way of understanding this card that I really love that meshes well with my depth psychology background is that when we have grown with wisdom, we've gone through life and we've had some experiences that were sort of challenging at some point in our life. We're now maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years away from that. We've cultivated new wisdom. We've cultivated new insight. And so now we can begin to look at some of these experiences from the past, and we're no longer experiencing them with the consciousness that we had then. We're now experiencing them with the depth of insight that we have at this point in our life. Now, ultimately, the Temperance card is a process by which we reach enlightenment, which is represented by the sun in the background there. But enlightenment or great layers of consciousness, great fulfillment of consciousness is bound by the process of blending of the opposites. It's no longer a process of this is a good thing and this is a bad thing. Rather, we start to identify with the greater consciousness that's able to witness the movements of life without repelling from what's hard or challenging or reaching for what's good. We start to become more and more identified with the isness of being, with consciousness itself. So I just wanted to speak to that because something in your life is going to go through a big balancing process this week. And some of what's being indicated by your second card is that something from the past that's been challenging for you could begin to resurface. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that there's a specific event. It's more like a type of experience that you've had on multiple occasions could begin to come to the surface to be looked at again. Now, this might look like something that is conventionally called depression, or it could be a certain kind of lack of sleep, or even sort of like a relationship kind of pattern that you've seen again and again. Now, that's what this Nine of Swords tends to represent. Generally, on the covers of the sheets are all of the different zodiac symbols, symbolizing that this is something that has sort of made its way through your life over a period of time. Now, the downside of this is that something could feel kind of challenging this week. You could be coming into contact with an experience or material that just isn't very much fun and that you've seen before. But what's good about this, and why it's important to see it in the context of the Temperance card, is that anytime one of these deeper patterns, what's called in Sanskrit a samskara, anytime one of these patterns comes to the surface, it's giving you an opportunity to begin to dissolve it, to begin to bring it to greater resolution. So the wisdom of something like the Temperance card is there's something that's showing up, and rather than going, "Oh, I got to get out of this uncomfortable situation," or, "Oh, I'm going to pretend like it's not here," is to actually embrace it and really sort of study it with compassion. Study what it is that's rising up with loving compassion. Now, I want to show you this other card that came out, which is our Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles is a card that represents a kind of overwhelm, a type of hopelessness that can start to show up. It's one of those places that we can sort of feel like we're a little bit trapped and there's nothing that we can do about it. Oh, I'm alone. Oh, I'm there. The resources that I need or the help that I need is impossible. I can't get it. So I have to walk this path by myself. Well, some of the wisdom of the Five of Pentacles is recognizing that these two individuals that are very much in a challenging place aren't necessarily responding to or noticing that there's a warmly lit church that's available to them. There is help that's available to you. So particularly when we have something that sort of surfaces like this, it kind of points to an experience that many people have when they're younger, where something scary happens and they don't feel like they're resourced or held. And so then it feels like, oh, there's nobody that can help me. There's nothing that I can do about this situation. But what's possible, and I pulled a couple of extra cards to get a good sense here, the way that you can begin to break this pattern and open yourself up to literally transforming something that seems like may have been a part of your experience throughout the years is to reach out for some assistance, to be willing to say, hey, I actually need some help. And to notice the parts of yourself that maybe are afraid to receive support, or that would rather sort of handle it on yourself because it's too scary to ask for help, or you don't feel good about asking for help. This is a chance, this is an opportunity to advocate for yourself. What is it that you really need right now? Do you need some time away from work? Do you need to call a close family friend? Do you need to ask for some resources from somebody? Are you willing to reach out and say, you know what? I've handled this on my own before, but I'm tired. I'm ready to receive some assistance. This could also come forward in terms of prayer, in terms of ways that you're asking life and the universe for some help. Now, the final piece for your reading is that in doing so and being willing to ask for support, willing to say yes to the denizens of light, the many different aspects of reality that want to support you, there's a great balancing that can begin to occur. We've got our Judgment card here, our Justice card here, and the Justice card has some elements of this Temperance. It's about things coming back to balance, right? We've got the measuring thing, what is it, an abacus or something? And we've got our two cups here. There's a balancing that wants to happen, but it has to come from a willingness to allow new support to come in to start to transform the pattern. So this is a powerful week ahead. Be sure to take really good care of yourself. Reach out for support if you need it. Reach out for support even if you only kind of need it. Be willing to receive love and support from those around you, or to find the resources that are going to help you in the coming days. As usual, it's great to tune in with you. Definitely take advantage of that 33% discount if you're wanting to. I think I've got one more day left before that expires. In other words, in other ways, or otherwise, otherwise, it's good to tune in with you, and I look forward to connecting again soon. Take care.